Hello and welcome to Crafting with Jane. Today we are playing with some stencils. Now these are really rather special stencils. They are by Tracy Evans Boutique Designs. This is SS2 and it is called Snippet Stencil Hair, and it contains the stencil, so you can do the sponge through it. And it also contains the inside, the cutout, which gives you all the definition of the hair. So you've got the lines and things to do highlights, where the little eye is going to go. But you can also put it down on, so this is a background that I wasn't really overly enamoured with, but you can put it on there like that. You can draw around it. Now I've drawn around this one with a pencil and I've done this one with a marker. So, you can draw around it with whatever you want. And I've turned it so that you can get the hairs facing each way. And then you just turn round and cut them out. And you've got two hairs like this. So I've done those again on some papers that I wasn't overly enamoured with. So if I take this, I'm just going to cut it in half so I can just take it out and sort of show you. So you literally can just cut this round and as I say, you want to cut up to the line because you've cut it round so that it's going to be a little bit bigger. Let me just take this in like this. I could take it up this way, turn it round, and it's not a particularly difficult shape to do, so you literally just go around it. But I'll show you how lovely it looks once you've gone round it. Now what I will do with this is, you can see where both of the let's cut through in a point. I'm going to just cut this down on the centre to about there. Turn it round and just bring it up so I can take the other part of the ear through. Now if you don't like doing, let's just get this round so we can do this one, because I can do the embossing part at the same time. If you're not that keen on drawing around with a stencil and you have problems holding it and things like that, or you've got stencils that have got shapes like animals and things like this and you haven't got the inside cut out, I will show you how to do that part. Let me just take his little tail. Okay, so if I turn it around that way, you can see you've now got the hair part. Now I will do the other side, but I'm not going to do that now. But what you can then do is you can put the stencil in on top. So I would take it so I know that it's going to come nicely here. And then with a little black marker like this, I'm literally just going to mark in where his little eye is. So I can give that a good little mark like that, and then I've got where his little eye is there, and you can see it gives him then a little eye. Now if you want to then just make it a little bit bigger, you know exactly where it's going to go, and you can just make the eye just a little bit bigger if you want to. So that gives you the definition of the hair, which I think is really good. Now if you're somebody who hasn't got the inside part, hasn't got these stencils, but have other stencils with animals and things in, what you can do is you can put it down on here You can use a sponge dauber, so you can sponge it through. And if you don't want to have it a different colour, do it on this side. Sponge it through and then cut round the silhouette that you've sponged. So you can do it a few different ways. I really love the fact that we've got an inside as well as an outside. So on this, I am going to, let me just get my Posca pens, because I want a little bit of white definition on here. Now, I'm not going to be able to get it through on here because Poscas will bleed. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to line it up like this, and I know that we have a little mark on this one, so I'm just going to do a little line like that on there. And we've got a little tiny one in on here, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this and draw the line on there, and then I'm going to take this, and this is going to come on the top of his little foot like that. Okay, now we can do it on these ones as well if we want to. So I have got, it's going to come up on this side on here like that, and then a little bit just on the front like this, and then a little bit just on the top of the foot like that. Okay, I need to curve that a little bit. That's got a bit straight, so let me just give it a little bit of a curve like that. Okay, and I can let that dry. And then this one, we've got to do it the other way, so we have a curve this way, and we have a little one up here, and we have a little one down there, and then we have a little one on top of here. And oh, I forgot, didn't I, a little bit on the top of his little tail there. And this is coming the opposite way, so it's going to be on the top of the tail like that, and then that's fine. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to emboss this up a few layers. So I'm just going to get some Versamark, which is clear like sticky, and some clear embossing powder. So the easiest way for me to do this is, let me make sure these are dry first and they're not going to smudge, yep, is to literally just press them in like that. Okay, so that's one. Get the next one. Press that side, and then we'll take this one. And I find that this is the easiest way if you're doing small images, because if you try and do it the other way, so pick the pad up and do this, you're going to get it all over the place and not necessarily in the image. Okay, so we've got one little amount of sticky, so I'm just going to put these on like this, and I'm going to take the embossing powders, which is clear, and I'm just going to sprinkle up over the top on here. See if we can get two. Don't think, well, we might, will we get three? Ooh, might. I've had this embossing powder for ever and ever. So it's, yes, I can get three in. Okay, so, and then all I need to do is to very carefully pick them up and just give them a bit of a shake off. I haven't really done that on there, have I? A little bit on there. I can move that out of the way, get the next one. I haven't really done over his little nose, have I? A little bit. One on there, and this one, give it a little shake off and put that on like that. Okay, then all I need to do is to pick the embossing powder up in like this, and pour it straight back into the pot, because you can see I've hardly used any at all. Put it back in there so we don't waste any, and then that can go back on there. Now I would do several layers, so let's take the first little one off like this, pop him on there, and you need to have something to hold because it's quite a delicate little thing. I'm going to turn my heat embossing tool on, so you'll just hear me talking over the top of it. Once it's warmed up a bit, we'll just put it over the top and it will start. There we go. Pick it up on here. And what it does is it just gives a lovely shine to the top. So that's one. I'm just going to move it out of the way a little bit, because this I've done it on fairly fine paper. So let's do the next one. Just hold it with some scissors, and then I literally will just cover it like that. Okay, that's that one. And then I've got this one over on here, and you can see it looks really dull, and as soon as you start using the embossing heat tool, it very quickly goes beautifully shiny. Never ceases to amaze me when you do this. Okay, so that's that, but you can see it's not, it's fine, but it's quite patchy. So what I suggest, what I always do, is do several coats. So let's take this one again, over on the top. Down on here, next one. Give it a good press so you get sticky all the way along. And as I say, you can do as many layers as you want. I'm only going to do 2, just for the sake of the video. But if you wanted to do more, you literally just keep doing this process again and again and again. Okay, so that's those with some sticky on, and let's get the embossing powder again, turn it round so we've got it all in on one side, and then I'm literally just coating it again. Now what I tend to do is, because this is quite thin, and as you get the layers, you'll find that it'll start, can you see how the ears of these ones are curling a bit? What I then do is, and I'll show you ones that I've already finished and done, I will literally just leave it in underneath a book. So put a heavy book and press it, and when you and leave it overnight, and then it'll press them completely flat and straight, because you're not going to get them completely straight by doing it like this. Now his little nose needs a little bit on there, so take that one off, and again take this off on here, a little bit on his tail. That's number 2, put that on there. Number 3, that, missed a little bit on his, little bit on there. You can actually see if you've missed any little bits, because as you, the Versamark is sticky and looks slightly sticky, so you can always see if you've missed a bit with the powder, because when the powder goes on, it's no longer shiny. Okay, so you can see I've still got lots in this pot. This pot is probably, oh, I don't know, several years old. I don't use embossing powders all the time, but you can see that it does last a long time. So I'm going to pop him on here. My tool should still be quite hot, so I'm just going to go across again. You can see how this time, as it's the second coat, it's going beautifully and shiny. There you go. So I don't need to, on this one, do it anymore unless I wanted it thicker, because just by doing 2 coats you get this really lovely shiny look. But as I say, as it dries it's going to curl, so what I will do is I will put it underneath a couple of books. You can see on this one where the ears start to curl, and as it when it's hot it's not too bad, but as it dries it will curl slightly. So that's why I say it's best to then put it underneath a couple of books and just leave it. Can you see how beautifully shiny that is? And just on this little bit where I had the pen, just have that so it goes lovely and shiny like a mirror. So then I can take that off, and I'm just going to put that one in on the side here. We'll get them afterwards. They're just, when they're a little bit warm, if you then stick your finger all over them, you're going to get your finger marks in on here. So last one. Now you can see on this one how much he's curling up, and that's because, as I say, there's the ears are quite delicate, but once I do this, can you see how it goes down again? But as it dries and goes cold, it will curl. So all I've got to do with this is to just make sure, there we go, that I've got a little bit on there, just needs a little bit more, I think. Better. Okay, so that's that one done. And then, as I say, I will just put my scissors up in there for a minute. I will just, as they dry and get a little bit curly like this, I just put them in between a couple of books. But you can see now, if I put this, just take him off a bit, because he's just stuck a bit onto the, oh, come on, thank you. It's because I've got a little bit of powder on the bottom. You can see how you can put them one either side and you've got a lovely silhouette. So let me show you a couple that I have done that have gone completely flat because I've had them overnight, and I'll show you different ways that you can do them. So this one, this is rather fine. Let's just move these out of the way for a second now. So this one is done with some Cosmic Shimmer texture paste. So I use the stencil as a stencil like that, and literally spread and made it so that it wasn't completely smooth. I wanted it to have this sort of different texture and stuff on there. And then I did 2 layers of clear embossing over the top once it had dried. That, as I say, has been overnight and now is completely flat. I did this one, which again is another background, very similar to some of these ones, but again you can see the beautiful detail of it once it's been embossed, and it's now completely flat, which is good. And then this one, which is my absolute favourite, I'm going to put it on here actually so you can see it. Let me bring this one up. I mean, look at the definition in there. This was just like a coloured background that I did, and it's just come out beautifully. Really, really am pleased with that. So I've got these lovely looks. This one again, if I bring this up a little closer, you can see all the texture and things on there. So it's a really nice way. And as I say, pop it in a book. You can see how these are starting to curl. So as I say, I'm just going to pop it inside a book and then put it flat overnight. And then these, as I say, are absolutely flat. And I don't need to worry about that at all. They can just go carefully away until I've decided to use them. So I hope that that was fun and interesting for you, and a way of using these stencils. And I will try and put a link below to Tracy Evans's shop, where you can buy all of these products, and they are absolutely brilliant. I really highly recommend it. You know, she's a small little independent, and I think we should always support some of the smaller people, because you know, their ideas and things are brilliant, and you know, it's nice to support smaller companies rather than some of these large conglomerates. So as always, please stay safe and well, please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.